Everybody, Rocco Castellano here for Ask Rocco Media, and my partner Neil is, I guess, catching flies or something in the back.
Mosquitoes.
My partner Neil Benchakman, and we are going to be teaching you today how to achieve every single goal that you set. And because in the fitness business, and in any business, it's really about challenging yourself and setting goals and making sure that you get to those goals in order for your business to grow. So, Neil, what's going on?
So let's do a quick recap. The other day we spoke about goals. So today's session we're going to dive deep into how to achieve goals. But before we get there, very quickly, just to do a quick recap, we spoke about setting big goals, something that is not a responsible goal, something that will motivate you and get you there. And the reason I'm saying that again and again is because it's the only way, it's the starting point, it's the kickoff point for you to actually achieve something worthwhile. If you don't do that, so two, three very quick examples. Number one, when Alexander Graham Bell told people, you know what, he's going to be sending messages over a wire to other people, people actually thought he was insane. He was a certified lunatic at the time, right? But today, we have the ability to have communications because of that goal. You know, we take the Wright brothers, or Thomas Edison for that matter. One achieved the goal of light and gave us the ability to see in dark. The other one gave us the ability to fly. So here's a test for you to know whether your goals are realistic or set high enough. Here's what you should do. Take your goal and go sell your goal to someone. Friend, family, co-worker, someone you respect, and say, hey, I've got this goal. What do you think about it? If they come back and say, yeah, it's a good goal, it's realistic, you should do it, scrap it. Okay? Don't do it. Okay? Throw it in the bin. Take it, tear it up, throw it in the bin, you're done. Because you need to be a certified lunatic. You need to be insane. Otherwise, you're not going to achieve your goal. It's just, you need something exciting. So that's the first test of it. Is shop it. If you sell it and everyone buys it, this is one time you don't want anyone to agree with it. And if it is, you're on the wrong path. Okay? So moving on today, and what we want to do is we're going to go into goal setting. I want to give you one mindset change. Okay? And it's critical to set it up because what I'm going to share with you now, you may not agree with us. Okay? When you're listening to this talk. Because the traditional way of setting goals is it needs to be time-bound, it needs to be realistic, it needs to have a deadline, etc., etc. There's nothing wrong with that. All of those goal-setting methodologies, again, this is just our opinion, works, but it's not going to work if you're looking for that big goal. Let me give you an example of this mindset shift. And I want to share the story with you because it's really relevant to me. Today, for most of you during this video, Nelson Mandela, for those of you who don't know who he is, you know, literally gave freedom to South Africa. He's in the critical care in a coma in South Africa in the hospital right now. Chances are he's not going to make it, you know, and people are beginning to understand the reality of that. So I was thinking about that, and here was a man who only had one goal in mind, right? And that is to give all South Africans freedom. And as a result of that, I'm sitting here talking to you and have the privilege to do that. Because when I was growing up in South Africa, if he didn't do that for me, I wouldn't be here today. But he gave freedom to 30 million people at the time. And in order to do that, he had to sacrifice and sit in jail for 27 years. Now, I'm not asking you to sit in jail for your goals, but hang with me here.
You know, that would pretty much suck, Daniel. Yeah, that's 27 years.
27 years, right? For something you believed in, right? Now, imagine Mandela at year 20 said, to hell with it. I got a 20-year goal to make South Africa a free nation. Year 20 says, okay, I give up, I'm done. That's it, I'm not going to do anything more. If he put a time-based bound goal to what he was trying to achieve, he would never achieve the most important thing in his whole life, right? Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison did 10,000 experiments. 10,000. Can you even imagine what 10,000 experiments are? He didn't say, okay, this year I'm going to figure out how to put a light bulb. Right? So time-bound, deadline, those are all realistic thinking. Those are all realistic goals. You're going to get offended by what I'm going to say. If you want to hear that stuff, don't hang up right now. Right? What I want you to do, what we want you to do, is to achieve so much more because we want you to be passionate about it. If you don't, let's just say you do set, and this is a mindset thing, you do set a goal for 1 year. You know, you want to make an extra $100,000. And it so happens you made $70,000 extra. Did you fail? Right? For me, no, I didn't fail. Right? So the time-bound thing is the wrong thing. But having a time can tell you one of two things. Hey, maybe you didn't have the right knowledge. Maybe you didn't do the right work. Maybe you didn't readjust and fine-tune your goals as you went along. Therefore, you missed it. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that stop thinking traditionally. Time-bound, realistic, has to be done by a certain date and you need to do certain things. Because if you go along that paradigm, that's been built. That started off in the 1930s where goal setting was important. We're living in 2013, Christ's sake, people. You know, let's get with the ages and the times here.
It's a whole different millennium, and you know, with the way that things are anymore, you know, just getting back to that, you know, like that big goal. Actually, Apple and Steve Jobs, you know, met their goal about the iPad, and they basically they got it. They built it. They had the technology, and when they got to their goal, they actually scrapped it because it didn't fit into their actual plans, their actual bigger plans, and the iPod did. So they came out with the iPod first, and then years later, they brought the technology that they finished their goal to about 10 years before, 7 years before. Then they brought it out because it was actually interfering with their bigger goal. So,
right. No,
you know,
that's
sometimes
that's a great example.
You just gotta you gotta know your goal, and then sometimes you get to it. You know, you may make $100,000, but that's really not your ultimate goal. It's just a stepping stone to your ultimate goal, or what you always are referred to, Neil, as the big, hairy, audacious goal. You know, it's got to be this 800-pound gorilla that's in front of you that you're actually going to beat the shit out of. And right. I just love whenever you talk about like the big, hairy, audacious goals, because that is where we should. If I was actually human and a sane person, I would never in a million years want to fight a fucking 800-pound gorilla. But because I'm not sane and because I'm not as human as people think I am, I will fight an 800-pound gorilla just to see if I could win and what would happen to me.
Right, absolutely. So now that we've got the mindset, your mindset and the things you're doing is not working, stop doing it. Okay. So now, how do we achieve these goals? So this is a formula that I've been working with, and Rock, you've been doing all throughout, and we've come up with a formula of how to set a goal and achieve a goal, and give you the details behind that. And here's what it comes down to for me. It comes down to 4 critical questions. And what does questions have to do with goals? Let's see right now. I'm going to show you how to achieve this goal. 4 questions. And if you apply this just for the next 30 days, it'll change everything you do. The first thing we want to do is okay, so the first question, I'm just going to read out to you directly. Question 1. So let's assume you've got this goal, right? If you achieve this goal, what would you be doing differently? I'll repeat that. If you achieve this goal, so put yourself in this mind frame. If you achieve this goal today, what would you be doing differently? What this does is I'm pacing you. I'm trying to make you go 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, 5 years from now. Let's assume you want to achieve this goal. What would you be doing differently? And what that does is when you answer the question, it's a starting point to tell you what knowledge you need and how much work you need to do to actually get there, right? It's kind of like a GPS pointing in the right direction. So if I wanted to make $100,000 extra, tangible idea, right? If I want to make $100,000 extra, okay? And if I said, wow, today is the day that I've achieved this $100,000, I've got it in my bank account, what would I be doing differently? So number one, I would be talking to 20 or 30 people a day selling my coaching services. I would plan my day to do the best work in the mornings because I know that's the time I can be most energized about my goal. I would talk to 10 or 15 people on new ways of contacting clients to achieve the goal, right? So I know as a person today, I can visualize my day, hey, calling people in the morning, talking to people, doing these activities. So all of a sudden now, what you're doing is building the knowledge base, step one, to achieve the goal.
We do that same, obviously, in a little more in depth. We have actual worksheets that we use that actually says in the goal, if you achieve this goal, what would your day look like? What would your week look like? And what would your month look like? And what that does, just like you said, Neil, is it gives you a light at the end of the tunnel. It also helps you visualize. It gives you a focus, an unbelievable focus, and then you can see it. You can actually see what you would be doing, during the day. Like you just said, you'd wake up in the morning early. You'd talk to 30 people. During that week, what else would you do? How would you end your week? How would you begin your week? How would you talk to the people that you want to talk to, the 30 people? In the month, what does that roll up into? So, we use, and you can do this, just take a piece of paper. It's not hard, you don't have to have a special magic paper or anything like that. Just, day, week, and month.
Right, absolutely. So it goes to our second question. I think we're already into the second question. And the second question you need to ask yourself, and we spoke about this, is how can you turn this into a daily one-page project sheet? So now that you've got this vision, as Rocco said, so what I do...
I am, right? What a spoiler I am.
No, that's cool. That's cool. We're excited and we're thinking ahead. So what we do is, now here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think in chunks. Think in projects, okay? So you say, okay, I've got this goal. How can I turn it into a project? So you say, project one. Here's the 5 things I need to do. Here's how many hours it's going to take. Because if you can take this entire goal into a one-page project sheet with those 3 or 4 lines, and maybe you have 4 goals, therefore you need 4 projects during the day, or 1 project every other second day, it now becomes tangible for you. Okay, so that's step 2, and we don't want to beat this because I think we've covered it. Let me flip over to the next step. Okay, so the next step is the power of execution, having habits and executing. So you take your project sheet, you know exactly what to do, when to do it. So today you go and you actually do the work, right? Now, this is the most critical question you need to ask yourself, and I haven't seen anyone do this yet, okay? So I'm going to share with you quite a powerful tip, and I could be wrong, right? And here's the question, and I'll explain why. Here's the question. At the end of the day, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well did I do with my project today? And why is it not a lower number or a higher number? I'm going to repeat that again. On a scale of 1 to 10, how well did I do on my project today, and why not a lower number or higher number? Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's just say you want to make 10 calls today, or write 2 blog posts, or 5 social media posts, whatever the goal is, right? So now what you're going to do is you're going to rate yourself. Let's just say you rated yourself a 6 out of 10. Okay? 0 is the lowest, 10 is the highest. You had the perfect day. You just crushed that project today. I mean, you just walked in the door and you just tell everyone, I crushed it today, right? That's a 10. So now you're a 6. So the first question you need to ask yourself is why you're not at a 4 or not at a 3. And the reason I ask that question is because you get to see all the things you're doing, right? And it motivates you to even go further. Right? So if your goal was 10 and you did 6 calls today, that's awesome on day 1 for your project. Why are you not a 3? Because, hey, I'm not a 3 today because I want this goal. I'm going to do this goal. I'm going to sit 26 years in prison to get this goal because it is my goal. This is my dream, right? So you're beginning to see and build a picture. Now, the second most important question is, why is this not a 9? Okay, and here's the reason why you want to ask the question. You want to ask the question because you want to find out what's holding you back, right? Number 1, is it your lack of time, of inability to do the activity or the work? Are you having so many distractions during the day, you can't make those extra 10 calls? You immediately know that. Number 2, is it a lack of knowledge? Maybe you only had 6 people to call, and that's it. You don't have anyone else to call. So how the heck are you going to get on the phone and call these people? So what you know now is the knowledge problem, right? How do I get and schedule 10 more people every single day in my pipeline? So maybe you want to take a step back and place some ads or do some Facebook posts or write emails to your list to get people on the phone to talk to them and set up appointments. Okay? So now, by asking these very subtle questions, you motivate yourself. At the same time, you figure out where the gap is and where the problem and the hole to fix to achieve that goal.
Well, it's the same thing that we talked about in the last Google Hangout. Was sometimes our goals need to have smaller little goals to actually be able to achieve them. So tracking them, why we want to track them or monitor them is so that we can become aware. Most people out there that I've seen and the people that I coach, many times they have these goals and they don't track it, and they're not aware of what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Because awareness of what you're doing right will motivate you to do more things right. It's a compound effect. Neil, you always talk about the compound effect. And I love that because when you're celebrating small victories, when you're celebrating what you're doing right, it compounds and it keeps moving you forward. And that's why these questions, asking why, and almost no one that achieves their goals asks what? No, almost all the people that don't achieve their goals never ask why. Never ask why. Imagine that. So if you're asking why, it will give you a leg up on everyone else that's not achieving their goals. You will be further and further and closer and closer to your goal. If right. You just ask why.
Yeah. And the final question to achieving their goals is, now that you understand why you're not a 3 and why you're not a 9, so you got this basic idea, the final question is, what behaviors or habits do I need to change to reach and accomplish my goal? So it's a very simple thing. I'm going to repeat that. What behaviors or habits do I need to change for my project task? 2 important words there. One is behavior. The other one is habits. So you can see the distinction here. These are not physical, tangible things, but they are, right? But and this is related to goal setting. Behavior. So if I'm not at a 9, what behavior do I need to change? Do I need to schedule in my day the ability to go and learn something new to achieve that goal, or to speak to a mentor, or maybe I'm isolated and I don't do those things. So that's a behavior change to make, right? And the other important thing, habits. What habits do I need to do? If I'm making these calls at 5 o'clock and I need to get home by 5:15 or leave or get to my next class that's available, so it's the wrong habit. You need to be doing it at 10 o'clock in the morning, right? So it's all of these things. Just take the behaviors and habits and you just fix one or change one every single day. It all starts to build, and before you know it, within 30 days, you can accomplish so much more than you ever thought possible. And then the last tip I'll leave you, and I'm not throwing stones here, but I'm going to show you.
You can throw stones.
My goals.
You're allowed to throw stones, Neil. You're allowed.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping the boulder for the last minute in the call. But anyway, I write. Here's my goals. I mean, you can look at it. I write at today's date. I write my goals down every single day. You know, every single day without fail, and I look at it now, and
I've got pages.
Yeah.
Of mine.
Right.
Same as you.
Yeah.
We have to look at them. If you don't have them in front of you, you're not going to be able to see if you've accomplished anything. Because so many times we'll be accomplishing things and we don't recognize and we don't celebrate those small victories or the big victories. We just keep grinding along. And that's not really the way that we should be living at all. And I got to really quickly, I'll tell you a story of it, and it relates a little bit to what we were talking about, but so many times, right, I wanted to read more books, right? And this is like talking about a behavior and about what are you talking about? I wanted to read more books. And one of the biggest things was I didn't feel comfortable. I couldn't really see any, really like the print in the book. And I'm like, oh shit, I want to, I want to read more. So what I did was, well, I bought a Kindle for 2 reasons. My wife wouldn't let me buy another book to fill my bookshelves because they were overflowing. But the other reason was so that I could read more. And because the print was, a little bit bigger, and also the behavior that I had to change was that I had to stop thinking that I was Superman and go to the eye doctor and get some fucking eyeglasses. That was something that was really, really important so that I could achieve my goal of reading more. And the other thing was I hated personal training for like the longest time. And I figured out I didn't really hate personal training. I really didn't. I hated waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I hated it. I hate waking up early. I like going to bed late. Screw you if you don't like it. Other people like waking up at 5 o'clock. I don't. So I was waking up at 5 a.m. and, to train people at 5:30. And I was like, man, I hate this fucking personal training shit. I'm going to get out of it. Well, I just changed, one, my behavior. I set my goal. I'm not training anybody until 8:30 in the morning. Where I could have my breakfast, I could have my coffee, and I had other people train them. And I was the happiest person in the world. And I had better days. My clients had better days. I was wowing them every day just because I changed a little bit. So don't be afraid. So many people say, oh, well, if I don't train at 5:30, I'm going to lose all this money. Actually, because I changed that time, I made a lot more money because I was more passionate. I wasn't tired, and I wasn't a miserable motherfucker. I just wasn't. You know, so that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. So, that's it for us this week. I mean, 4 simple questions. Make the goal ridiculously big. Answer these 4 questions. Follow along. You may want to listen to this call 2 or 3 more times. There's some really good golden nugget stuff in here that you're going to pick up. And then leave us a comment. And one more thing is we're now offering, if you're having a problem building a sales funnel or a sales cycle and you don't know what your website looks like, go to AskRoccoMedia.com or leave us a comment below this video. We'll do a free 5-minute video critique of your site for you. Just tell us your site, send us your email address. We'll do a critique, we'll video it, we'll send it back to you. Hopefully it'll help you change your life, change your business, and we'd love to get your feedback on that. So that's it for today.
And we normally don't do shit for free, okay? But because we have so many people ask us when we're doing seminars or workshops about their website and how it should convert, we decided to to get people on the phone and to send them a little of critique of their website to how it can better convert. So I want to say thank you so much to Neil, and I'm Rocco for Ask Rocco Media, and I'm reminding you the least you can do is live up to your potential.